Now to Minnesota, Somali-run daycares get an FBI raid following the weeks of Minneapolis' Somali immigrant community being the target of the Trump administration, accused of fraud. So let's talk about this. Live to CBS News correspondent Jonah Kaplan, and one hell of a great investigative reporter at that. Jonah, how many daycares, and did the daycares have any children on the inside during any of the raids?
Yeah, Reed, good to be back with you. And yeah, my beat is very active once again. This is the first major operation, really the first major storyline when it comes to fraud in Minnesota since late last year before Operation Metro Surge. What we know about this activity this morning, it happened before dawn. It started really as early as 6 a.m. local time. So no, there were no students there. We don't know that any staff were present at any of these facilities, and we know of 22 search warrants that were exercised this morning and executed at various places, not just, by the way, in Minneapolis proper, but some of the surrounding suburbs as well. And we know from sources they wanted to do this early, get in, get out, partly because of some of the tension that's still simmering from Operation Metro Surge. This had nothing to do with immigration, but we know that there was a large mobilization of citizen activists in Minneapolis ready to whistle, alert anyone of any federal activity. So agents and sources told me they wanted to avoid that as much as possible.
Well, and you know, a lot of people could say that this could have been coming. We knew that there was a drill down. We knew that there was investigative eyes on this topic of fraud. What do you think they hope to get on the inside of those facilities? And do you think anybody had the lead time to maybe get any evidence out, if there was evidence to be had in the first place?
Well, Reed, this is how it all starts, right? Even if we go back 4 or 5 years ago to when the first investigations were underway into feeding our future, and you see these scenes right now, there were about
Yeah.
70 defendants who basically milked for lack of a better word, and drained a federal nutrition program, a social service meant to give money to meals to underprivileged kids. And they basically frauded that program out of $250 million. It started with a search warrant. It started with collecting documents, and it started with collecting computers. And there was a lot of momentum. And you're seeing this video here of YouTuber Nick Shirley. He basically went, for better or worse, to try and expose what he said was the next big fraud, which was in daycares. And from what we saw, a lot of these daycares were really in operation. Um, there were kids at these places. They were visited by state inspectors. That doesn't mean, though, that fraud did not take place. Maybe they had 20 kids, but they charged for 40 kids.
Right.
Who knows what their business practices were? But the point is, today they went in not making any arrests, but they had to go get the paperwork. They had to go get the evidence that prosecutors are then going to look over and then determine whether or not they're going to file charges. And if the past is any lesson for the future, that's exactly what is about to happen.
Jonah Kaplan reporting. Thank you so much. We know that as details come forward, you'll be the first with them.